So what, Steve, right?
Yeah.
Hi, so Steve, right? So I know you're a newbie and everything. Don't worry about it, right? All we're doing is building a world. We'll build a world together, okay? So you told me that you were gonna do like three brothers.
I've completely changed.
Good
Sorry.
man. Better that you've done. So who's your character?
Um, he's a young man. His name's Raiden Softsword.
Raiden Sorcerer. Like that. We have swords too. Alright, go ahead about Raiden Sorcerer. Who is he?
The story itself is a comedy. What's a young man? He's an orphan.
Named Raiden Sorcerer?
Yeah. He's been wanting to join the King's Imperial Army for quite a few years now. The furthest he's got is joining the town militia because they're the only people who will have him. He's attempted the test for the Imperial Army 16 times, and up to now he's managed to kill 4 chickens, scare the life out of 2 pigs, burn a barn down, and publicly shame the Baden's daughter.
And publicly what?
Publicly shamed the Baden's daughter.
The Baden's daughter?
The Baden.
Baron's daughter. I like this guy. Alright, so we're in like Robin Hood territory with this one.
Yeah.
You know, so Raiden Sword is an orphan who wants to be a part of like the King's militia, kind of like a musketeer in a way, right?
Yeah, the king. Yeah.
So does he have a weapon of choice?
A rapier.
A rapier. Okay. So
He's not very good with it, but
okay. So he's kind of like a squire who wants to be, you know, more
Of a
than
knight.
his station.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So like, okay. So we set up the world of Raiden Sword, where he's like a squire. He's like kind of like a little nobody. He's an orphan, but he has desires to be a knight, right? A part of the king's militia and everything else like that. So that's kind of like the world, but something has to happen for the story to set off. So like, how are you gonna begin this story? And remember, you know, like what could you do? Because we are in the present day.
well, as it's being a comedy, it's gonna have to start off with him retiring the test for the army, and just every time he does it, he manages to bungle it up, you know, does something wrong and causes absolute chaos every time. Like, as I said, he's like burnt a barn down, killed 4 chickens, and
I love that bit.
He's caused
So
chaos.
like, let me throw something at you, right? Why don't you make this sound somewhat like The Princess Bride? Right? Why don't you make this be like a children's story, where like a father is telling a son, right, about little Raiden Sword. So it's like, you know, like that, you know, like can you read that story again? Can you tell me the story? You know, because we're in the present day, right? What could we actually do about showing the world the Raiden Sword? But you can kind of like describe it, right, in the story, because like that bit about the chickens is really funny.
with it being like set in like Robin Hood-esque world, Formby Woods is only up the road, isn't it?
It is. I mean, like if you got your own camera and you want to go up to Formby Wood, go forth and do. Right? I mean, like I'm talking about like within the context of the class when you make these films, you make them here within these 2 hours, and it's only a 2-minute piece.
Yeah.
So like the whole deal is you could, because you can very well shoot outside of our class hours and go to Formby Wood and do that. But you could also do that as part of a establishing shots, meaning that in the person still reading the story to their son, right, that like you could cut to like in the woods, you know, like Evil Dead. You cut to, yeah, so Raiden's sword, you know, and then all of a sudden you got a camera, right, just POV camera, like, and you're hearing horses move, right, and you know, you just running through the woods, right, so you take a phone, right, because we shoot phones sometimes, and you just go out into the woods, and you just shoot that, right, you know, you're running through the woods, but then you do the voiceover of Raiden's sword, right, you know, and everything, or if you got like a toy sword, we've used toy swords before here and everything like that. We don't have anymore, but like, you know, you can actually get one and you can have the sword, shing, right? And again, it's kind of like look at that, he's got his own. So you can bring it, right? But like, ching.
No real ones.
Right? And like, you know, but do you understand what I'm trying to say, right? So like Princess Bride had that bridging device, didn't it? You know, the bridging device means like it begins somewhere and ends somewhere. So like you could actually begin with just creating two characters, whether it's a grandfather talking to a grandson, a father talking to a son, you know, and then you create this factor that maybe.
Well, it could be episodic. But
Yeah,
it's a
yeah, yeah,
father
but
telling
this
his
is
son stories every night, you know.
yeah, but this is only the opening of a piece.
Yeah.
So if it is episodic, how do you make it episodic, but in the dialogue where it's like you're gonna tell me that story again, right? A line of dialogue. Tell me my favorite story or that story again, right? Why would a father tell a son a story about an
Well,
orphan?
it could be out of a book.
Yeah, of course. That's
The
what I'm
Adventures
saying.
of Raiden Soft or
That's exactly what I'm saying, dude. You know, you get a book and then you open the book, right? And then it's like a person there and they're telling a story.
yeah.
But then what you do differently visually is you could cut to Farmby Wood and you cut into, you know, hearing the horses' hooves. You know, you cut into the sounds where you got shing, shing, you know, the sword swinging through that kind of thing. And it's all about imagination. So what you're really doing is you're opening up a world, a fantasy, with the story. But you also are being a little bit more heartwarming where it's a father telling his son the story. Or a father like reading his favorite story that his father read to him. But so that's kind of like back to your triple, right? That's kind of like the thing that you're setting up. Is that like you have to think to yourself, what is the source of it? What is the core meaning of the story? Like if it's an orphan who believes in himself, right, and he's constantly doing the wrong thing, but his heart, he has heart, he has determination.
That's what I mean. He's trying to do the right thing, but he just manages to mess it up every time, you know.
Right. So a father reading that story to his son is like saying, "Don't worry about it, lad." You know what I mean? You're better than all of that. And so then you can actually think to yourself, well, why do I choose to read the story to my son tonight? And it could be because he comes home and he was bullied. Or he comes home and he was called names. Right?
Yeah.
And everything else like that. And it's like, you know, maybe it's time, you know, I read you this that my father read me. You know, or maybe it's time for that story once again. Or can you read me that story once again? So you see what I'm saying? But you're creating a world there, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, because instead of like, you know, being told off or instead of just being on his own, you know, his father is there for him. You know, and he's choosing to motivate him, to inspire him with this story. And then it opens up the book and opens up the world to fantasy and you show us visually that fantasy unfold. And then Rain starts on to his adventures. You know, the kid who can't do anything right. You know, we got it on tape, but you know, the 3 chickens and the goats and the ding, 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 right? Yeah, does that work for you?
Yeah.
Does it sound like...
It does, yeah.